Erica. I'm here with another video. I know in one of my previous videos I talked to y'all about the time I lost a baby, my pregnancy lost video. And in this video I'm going to be talking about my pregnancy after loss. So I know a lot of you know I have a daughter, Zola Rose. She is 1 now, so I'll be she's my rainbow baby, my baby after my loss, so I'll be telling you about that. So if you're interested, just stick around. So after I lost my first baby, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if something was wrong with me. I didn't know if I could ever have children. And like I said in my other video, they didn't really give me a straightforward reason as to why I lost my baby. So yeah, I was just afraid of the fact of, you know, if I get pregnant again, is this gonna happen again? I knew it wouldn't replace, if I did, it wouldn't replace the other baby that I had lost. But deep down inside, I really did want to be a mom. I had been preparing for it. I had been getting the house ready. 3 months after I lost my first baby, I realized that I was pregnant again. So the story on that, I just went to the Dollar Tree and I got 2 pregnancy tests. Both of them were positive, so you know, I knew that I had to be pregnant. I know 3 months is kind of fast, but I wouldn't say it was on purpose and I wouldn't say it was on accident. I was excited, but I was nervous at the same time. Of course, I cried a lot. The only thing I could really think about was how I didn't want to lose this baby. Just like the last pregnancy, I didn't really tell people. I told a few friends that, you know, it would be kind of easy to let know if something did happen. Okay, I'm really hoping this video isn't as long as my first one. I'm country and I talk slow. So yeah, I went to the same doctor that I was seeing during my first pregnancy. I saw her every 2 weeks, and this time they did keep a watch on my cervix because they did notice that my cervix was dilated already at 3 centimeters when I was 5 months pregnant from my last pregnancy. And they decided to put me on progesterone shots. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's like a hormone. It's a hormone that's produced during pregnancy to basically keep you pregnant. I was considered high risk. That's why I was being seen every 2 weeks rather than being seen every month like normal. They mailed the medicine to me in a little tube along with the needles and the syringe and everything. And I had to do them myself at home, which I didn't do them myself. Tyrone, my fiance, did them for me. He did a pretty good job, I might say. But he had to give me one every week in my hip, and it did not feel good. Let me know if you've ever had to take progesterone shots while you were pregnant. I had the nurse on speed dial just in case anything were to actually happen. If I felt anything that that was unusual, I would go ahead and call the nurse right away. I didn't waste any time because I didn't want to take any chances. I worked up until I was about 16 or 17 weeks pregnant. When I was 20 weeks with Zola, they discovered that my cervix was getting shorter and shorter. Like I said, they kept a watch on it, and each time it would shorten more and more until the time before my 20th week checkup. The time before that, they told me, okay, if you come back and if it's gotten shorter since the last time, then we're gonna go ahead and send you in and get a cerclage. Okay, so if you don't know what a cerclage is when they go in and actually stitch your cervix closed so it won't open. So they call it incompetent cervix, and that's it just means a weak cervix. I was really afraid because they did tell me, you know, there's a risk that your water could rupture or you could like miscarry. I said, hey, you know, if this is gonna possibly save my baby, then I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I wasn't asleep during the procedure. I was awake the whole time, but they did give me a nerve block or like an epidural to where I couldn't feel my bottom half, and it really wasn't that bad. The worst part about it was that my blood pressure dropped, and I kind of felt like I was dying. I guess they prepped me for the procedure. The procedure itself only took about 20 minutes, and they were talking to me the whole time, and my nurses were really nice. And after I was in recovery, it took about an hour and a half to 2 hours before I could actually go home. I just had to wait. After I had made it home, I didn't feel any pain. I did have a little bit of bleeding, and I actually felt my baby move the whole time while I was getting the procedure done. It's almost like she could feel what they were doing, and she didn't really like it, so she would kind of like jab at them or poke at them or whatever. And I went back to normal activities, nothing too too much. I did, go on a lot of walks, and, I would make sure if I felt any pressure, I would sit down and just still take good care of myself. But after the procedure was done, and I didn't have any complications from the Cerclage, I felt so much better. I felt so much better that they now knew what the issue was and that they were able to fix it. Well, I asked my doctor if it was okay for me to stop the progesterone shots. Now that I had the Cerclage, there wasn't really a reason for me to be taking the progesterone injections anymore. At 30 weeks of my pregnancy, my fiance and I moved to another state. Which meant I would be dealing with different doctors. So mind out that I still have my Cerclage. They don't take the Cerclage out until about between 36 and 38 weeks, they'll take the Cerclage out. And then another thing that I learned that I did not know, after you're so far along, some doctors won't even see you because, if they didn't start from a certain point at the beginning of your pregnancy or in the first trimester, then they're not going to see you. So I finally did find a doctor that would see me at about this time. I was about 32 weeks, so I was pushing it a lot, but I did find a doctor that would take my Cerclage out. Once I hit 37 weeks and it was time for me to get my Cerclage taken out, this is usually a procedure that they can just do in the doctor's office as if it were a pap smear, but sometimes it's not that easy. In my case, it wasn't that easy at all. So I went to that doctor's appointment to get my Cerclage taken out. I thought everything was going to be easy. Well, I was in so much pain, and I was trying to bear with the pain, and I'm just like, I don't think I can do this. So they said, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and send you over to the hospital to have them take the Cerclage out. And I'm just like, this meant that I was going to have to go through everything that I went through to get the Cerclage put in. I was going to have to get the epidural or the nerve block again and be in the operating room and everything. So when I got there, everybody was having babies that day. So so I was last for the doctor to come in and get me and clean me up and take me to the operating room. I was in my hospital room for 12 hours before I actually got my Cerclage taken out. They actually let me keep my stitch. I know that might sound weird, but I kind of wanted to keep it to one day show Zola, like, this is the stitch that saved your life. The stitch was actually embedded into my skin, which is why the doctor could not take it out in the doctor's office for my checkup on that day. After my cerclage was finally out, I'm like, okay, you know, it's out. I'm almost done with this pregnancy. You know, the baby could come at any moment and it'd be okay. At 37 weeks, that's basically like pre-full term. So if she came that day, it would still be okay. But right after they took the cerclage out, of course, they monitored me, and I was actually 1 centimeter dilated after they took the cerclage out. Well, I had this new fear after they took the cerclage out that I did not want to, you know, wait too long or wait too late before I got to the hospital before, you know, I was in labor. I just kept going back. I kept going back to the doctor every 2 days. I kid you not. I know I got on their nerves, but I kept going back to see how much I was dilated. So after I got my cerclage removed, I went back like 2 or 3 days later, and I was 3 centimeters dilated. And then I went 2 days after that, and then I was 4 centimeters dilated. So I'm just like, when are y'all gonna let me stay and have this baby? So I guess this is gonna roll over into Zola's birth story. So I guess this kind of ties into, you know, my pregnancy after loss. So I'll go ahead and tell you, I went into labor and everything. A week after I got my cerclage removed was when I actually had Zola. My water broke, but my water, it didn't gush out. It was actually leaking. So it started leaking the night before I had her on the 20th. So on the night of August the 19th, my water started leaking, and I knew I wasn't peeing on myself, and I'm just like, what is this? So I said, okay, let me go ahead and finish packing my bag. No, I didn't have a bag packed. Go ahead and finish packing my bag, and we can go ahead and go to the doctor, the hospital. So we were in the car, and I started having contractions like out of nowhere. And every time I had a contraction, I would tell him to hurry, and then my contraction would ease up, and I'm just like, don't go too fast, don't go too fast, I don't want you to have a wreck. And then, you know, about 3 minutes later, I would have another contraction, and I'm like, oh, hurry, 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 hurry. So we finally got there, and when I got there, I was 5 centimeters dilated, and they decided to keep me because I was vomiting. You know, I think I had a headache, and I was just in so much pain, and I had the nerve to think that I was going to try to have her natural. I'm not saying anything against women who have their children natural or women who decide to get the epidural. I tried to do natural. I could not. Kudos to the women who can. You are a strong woman, okay? I guess I'm not that strong. I tried to do it, and then my fiance was like, no, can you go ahead and have the anesthesiologist to come in and give her an epidural because I was in so much pain. So they went ahead and gave me the epidural, and they wanted my baby to labor down on her own before I started pushing. So this was about at 4 p.m. August 20th. I was 10 centimeters dilated, but I could not start pushing yet. I didn't start pushing until about 6, and I only pushed for 30 minutes, and I ended up having her around 6:30. Once I had her and she was crying, burst out into tears, and I'm sure every mom probably cries. But after losing a baby, I just wanted a screaming, hollering baby that was alive and healthy. And that was like my biggest goal with this pregnancy. I didn't really have complications other than, you know, my cerclage, or when they checked my amniotic fluid, they noticed that there was meconium in there where she had took her first poop inside of me, and that made me really nervous. My fiance's mom was in there with me the whole time, and she was just like, it'll be fine, everything's gonna be fine, and you know, don't even think about that, don't start looking stuff up. I'm like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. And then the nurse reassured me that the respiratory team would be in there right after I gave birth, just in case, you know, they had to take her to the NICU, or if she was having any issues, they would be there and they would fix it, basically. So yeah, that was all of that story. I went through a lot of stuff being pregnant with Zola, and I'm just so grateful for her to be here every single day. I kid you not, that she wakes up. Like, I thank God for her. I just feel so blessed to have, even though she gets on my nerves every day, like I'm blessed that she's able to get on my nerves, because she's alive and she's here, and she looks at me because I'm her person that, you know, God chose to take care of her and to be her mom. And like I said in my last video, like, if you have ever dealt with a loss or anything like that, you'll get through it, and you'll make it, and your time will come. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. I'm more active on Facebook. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for my next video. I try to upload every week, but I'll let you know. Make sure you like this video, share this video, and comment down below and let me know if you've ever been through anything like this.